Cheryl's gonna be late, so I gotta open class tonight, and she's trying to get me into her account, and I'm in. Yeah. Okay. 6. Yeah. Then we're done earlier. Yeah. So I know. um. Oh, so went to the dermatologist and got she's at my cheek, but then I also like for the second time kind of showed her my nose and she felt it because now you can feel the spot on my nose. And so she's like, let's just zap it. So that's what I figured. I'm like, this is acting just like all the other things that have happened on my like face and chest. So um yeah, so she just freezed it. Um and then yeah, and then the doctor. Yeah, I mean, even if we get something set up for January or whatever is fine, but for you, if you don't want to go right away. But right. Do you need to do a physical? I oh, I see what you're saying. Hmm. Hmm. Gotcha. Sorry, I gotta eat. Yeah. Okay. I mean that whole week is busy. I would assume the 24th, well, the 24th, I would assume the 23rd might be busier, but yeah, because most people want to be where they're going by New Year's. What? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Perfect. Yes, exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm, that's true. Yeah. Duh. Yeah. Oh, Don, why are you asking if I would be all right? Is that something from the past? Okay. Okay. Yes, please come home. Let's see you tomorrow. Let me know what you want for dinner. Oh, hmm, true. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Wait, say that again? Yeah. Oh. mean, you could go into your place. But if you're like, I'm not ready to deal with that stuff yet, then that's understandable too. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, my mind is downloaded you. Love it. Yes. Very nice. Hmm. Oh, sweet. Yeah. Mm. Cool. So their fiscal year ends January. When does their fiscal year end? Mm. Gotcha. No, gotcha. Flying by. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. No, it's normal. That's really crazy of them. This is Mm. Mhm. Yeah. end meeting for all. Oh, sorry, Cheryl, this is just gonna run for a really long time. I'm just gonna mute myself.
Okay. Um,
Surprise! Cheryl.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing okay. Did you do something different to your hair? It looks different to me.
I did it, maybe.
It's cute.
I straightened it.
Nice.
I've been all over the place, so it probably wasn't really taken care of the last few times. I probably just let it air dry and was like, oh,
Yes.
because we were moving and yeah, a lot going on.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
now I'm back in South Carolina, but we have renters in our house. But we got like able to move to South Carolina sooner than we thought. So we have to wait till the renters move out of our house because you can't evict people. Um, that's rude. I would do that.
That's just not nice,
It's not
right?
nice. It's not pretty. So we're staying like in a furnished temporary location for a couple months. Yeah, and it's like it's really cute. It's really homey. Like in a good way homey, not like gross home, you know. It's cute. Yeah.
It's comfortable.
It's very comfortable, like great furniture, great bed. She like the theme was orange. She said the lady who owns she has another one that's all yellow. Um
She goes with the color theme.
yeah,
Okay.
she's like, I picked colors for each of our rentals. I was like, that's actually kind of cute.
Okay. Well, all right. Life goals.
I know.
I
But
want to have
like,
enough rentals that I just pick colors for
right,
them.
yeah, let me right, yeah, let's back. And honestly, I mean, I guess you kind of do have a color you run through your whole house, but I mean, she really like consistently has like the orange everywhere, but it works.
Hmm.
Like this
Cool.
chair's orange. There's a really cute like velvet orange chair downstairs. I wouldn't have chosen the same curtains or shower curtains, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like regular curtains and then yeah, bathroom. But that's just me. I can live with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Something about being in a rental or being on vacation that is like calming because you don't have to maintain the
Mhm.
items in the house.
Right.
Like when you live in your own house, everything is kind of its own list of
Right.
to-dos.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's that couch. I need to clean that couch. You know,
Yeah.
just
No, I don't have to.
you don't have to worry about anything.
I
It's
don't.
kind of,
It is nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's those unseen
Mhm.
to-do lists that
Yeah.
drag me down, I guess.
Yeah. So when we get back in the house, we'll see where it's at after the renters.
That's also a really scary thing.
Yeah. I mean, we went through a company. So, because Charleston, I mean, there's just tons of rentals,
Okay.
like for B&B and just vacation homes, like people own beach houses and they rent them out partly during the year when they're not using them. I mean, why not? They can make a killing on them. So like they're probably paying their mortgages for the whole year, like when they rent it out for the couple months. Um, so yeah, so we used a property management company. So like we don't talk with the renters, like it's all through them. So all the legal documents, all of that's like already done and it's done through them. So that's good.
Yeah, that makes it a lot less stressful.
Yeah, and so like if there are things that like are broken and need fixed, like they already have a maintenance guy. They already have a,
Mhm. And
which
do
is
they vet the renters? Do they
yeah.
hold them to like a higher standard,
Yeah,
maybe?
they really vetted them. They had to give they had to prove they had 3 times the amount of income for the more like to pay the rent. And they did a background check and yeah. And my
Cool.
neighbors have said, because I mean, I love my neighbors, so I go see my neighbors now that I'm back. They just don't know who I am. But my neighbors are like, yeah, they've been really nice, really good. Like, it's just a
Not throwing raging parties with
no, they're just like
beggars or
in their
something.
30s, work from home, no kids.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it worked out really good.
That's cool.
Yeah. How was your week?
My husband got open heart surgery.
Oh,
And that's why I wasn't at the last meeting because
yeah.
he was admitted to the hospital after collapsing in the doctor's office.
Oh,
So it's
that's crazy.
been it's been crazy. We knew he needed it, but
Yeah.
I live in Reno and their the healthcare system, they're just overburdened.
Yeah.
So they don't really have the staff in the hospitals to manage the population here. So we weren't scheduled for weeks and weeks out, and we just couldn't wait. So
Yeah.
he needed to have a double bypass.
So
Yeah.
did you go to urgent care or you finally got in to see a doctor?
We got in because I was complaining so much,
Yeah.
yelling at the doctors to get his surgery scheduled, and so we got into the cardiology office actually, and just the walk to the office, my
Oh,
husband was like losing all of his
oh, Holly.
um like color, and then he
Yeah.
just like lost it, trying to just
Oh,
yeah get up. So they ambulanced him over to the hospital and scheduled the surgery. They had to move him to a different hospital that had staff
to get it done.
to get it done. Yeah, it's
How far
crazy.
away was the hospital?
Not bad. It was only
Oh,
like
okay.
a 20-minute drive.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad. And we had lots of support. And so I brought him home
Oh
yesterday.
my gosh.
Yeah. So I am Nurse Ratchet. So currently Nurse Ratchet. Yes. That is my
So he came through good. They didn't have any
yeah.
complications or anything.
No, he did well. Yeah. So
Wow. How are
phew,
you doing though?
yeah. Um Better now that I have had a shower.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a couple days there that I couldn't remember.
Right. Have you had time to kind of break down on your own and freak out?
Not enough.
Yeah.
A
No, that's
little
why I was
bit.
asking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but yeah. But I was lucky my kids flew in and drove in
Oh,
and were here with me the whole time.
oh, that's nice.
And we were taking shifts in the
Yeah.
hospital. So it was
Oh.
good. So,
Where do your kids live again? I don't even
so I
know.
have two in Utah
Oh,
and one in California.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So
That's
we're
great.
originally California, and we just recently moved to Nevada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy that they're so understaffed in Nevada because I just feel like, I mean, has there been a huge population change?
I don't I don't know. I'm not sure when the growth bump happened. Could have happened during COVID, but um, I'm not sure if it's just always could have been this way
That's true too. Yeah.
or what. So
Yeah, I
Campbell's
mean,
a
when
little
we were living
fuzzy.
up in Pennsylvania, my husband and I, it took me 7 months to get into a doctor,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and they turned out to be crap. And
right.
like, so then I just like came back down to South Carolina and just pretended like I had already moved back so that my doctor wouldn't get in trouble because I was like needing prescriptions refilled.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh,
It's
I'm so
hard.
glad they got him in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I'm learning that you have to be the squeaky wheel, and I've been
Apparently,
very
yeah.
squeaky. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's amazing that it happened in the office that you got him there and
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Dan. Hi, Lori.
hey guys. Lori
Hi.
Rochester.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm
Um,
still driving.
You're driving from Vermont?
No, I flew into
Oh,
Tampa because I have treatment tomorrow, so I'm still
Right.
trying to get to my destination.
oh,
Yeah, but I'm
gotcha.
here. I'm here.
Okay.
Holly, I'm so sorry. I didn't hear what happened, but I'm glad your husband's okay.
Thank you. Yeah, he
Yeesh.
had to have an emergency bypass, double bypass surgery. So yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm glad
yeah,
that he's all right because that's
he is good. Yeah, it was, and it's still a little touch and go with sleep. So
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I get it. I get it. But so part of in a previous life, I used to work at the hospital.
Last
And
month.
And I literally, I used to say they do it every day. He's exactly in the right place, right? Like
Right.
it'll all be okay. So, I'm glad that you have him home though, because you definitely don't want to have him in there either long term.
Right. You know, there's pros and cons to both because you feel kind of safer in the hospital, but then they're constantly, yeah, making noise.
Poking and prodding and waking him up every hour and just
Mhm.
making him cranky for sure.
Yeah.
So
So
you have to
you're
make
on a
sure you
road
get to them.
trip. Where are you going? What?
I have to go to see my oncologist tomorrow, so I had to fly from Vermont to Tampa, and then I'm here. I fly out on Friday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we'll eventually start driving back down to we live in Tampa, but we have a Vermont cabin in that we go to in the summer because it's too hot here.
Mm. Okay.
So it kind of works out.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to see you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lori's a survivor 2 times
Wow.
over, right?
Sure
Mhm.
am.
Awesome.
That's crazy. Gosh.
I heard Cheryl has the flu.
Yeah, so say a prayer, throw up good, whatever you all believe in. Because her son's getting married on Saturday. So
Oh no.
yeah, so tomorrow like starts a lot of the festivities. So I was like, hey, why don't you just stay in bed and I can play the recording and I can teach do this class and go through the stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that starts tomorrow and like rehearsal and then everything on Saturday. So she really just needs to rest and get healthy. Mike went and got her partner flu medicine. So hopefully it'll actually work and kick in, at least by Friday. She might not feel the best tomorrow, but I know I feel so ill. So just got to get her through the weekend.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
Not the best timing.
Oh. Dan, how are you doing? It's okay. Sorry, you're chewing. What you eating?
I am having sausage and peppers.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How's your week been?
Well, I'm sorry.
How's your week been?
My week has been a bit crazy. It's a mix between work and playing general contractor and yeah, something in between. So, yeah.
What are you
Hmm.
general contracting?
Oh, I am doing repairs and updates and
Oh, at the cabin.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've painted rooms, I've hung TVs,
Nice.
I've rebuilt ceiling fans, I have shower doors coming, replacing shower door, installing shower doors. Mm, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been challenging.
Yeah. Adulting is fun.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't think Cheryl got into this much. in our mentoring session, but maybe she did after I got off the call because we were at the hotel, I think. But so you have to turn in like X amount, 3 recordings to Cheryl. Well, maybe just 2, but you can do up to 3. So we do a recording with one of our clients. I mean, you can do it with someone in the class as well. It just doesn't, sometimes it goes a little too easy. So we want to like have it, be a really real one. And we'll send in the recordings to Cheryl, and then we'll schedule a one-on-one appointment. You'll like get into her calendar and schedule a one-on-one appointment, and then you all are meet and you'll go over the recording together. Right? So just like we go over them in class, you guys would go over them and talk about, what's going great, how to improve, questions you have, things like that. So she would like the first recording by the 31st of October. And then she asked that you schedule the one-on-ones for the first week of November. And let me look. I don't know if there's a direct link in in the Up Coach to her personal. Um,
I think the link is also in UpCoach. So
yeah, that's what I was looking for to see if I could find it.
I think it'll be under her successful coaches.
Oh, gotcha. On the
Link.
top one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So what we want to do when we do the recording is we need to have a transcript of the recording to give to Cheryl. So not only will we give the actual recording itself, but we're going to give a transcript. And the transcript needs to be like dated or time stamped, is what I mean. Of course, dated, but time stamped. And then like, Holly client, like it needs to be listing who is like the back and forth. So Cheryl can do that. I don't remember what she charges. Or there also are some apps online that you can do, like you feed the recording to it, and then it will, for a price, give you a transcript. So, yeah, so I'll tell Cheryl to send out that, and then like I used well, if you use Zoom, if you have Zoom and can record in Zoom, and then it's going to transcribe. I haven't actually looked at the transcriptions ever though after Zoom, so you might just have to clean it up. Worst case scenario. Yeah, so that might already be happening. So she needs actual recording and then a transcript as well, and we can email those things to her. Questions?
I'm having a little bit of a struggle with the platform. Would you mind sharing your screen and just showing navigating to like where we would get that information? Or
Yeah. Where's my share screen? Oh, it's the green one. Okay. So I obviously have done a few things. Go to the home. Where did you think it was, Lori, on here?
If you go,
I'm on the home page.
So it's under, there's actually I believe a form. Oh, that looks
Okay.
kind of different than it used to here. If you go under the PCC, the September 24th, go
Yeah.
under that.
Mhm.
And then scroll a little bit down. So there's all your recordings.
Recordings.
And
Yes.
then in this forum,
Okay.
you'll have
It-
announcements. So you're going to have more than the others. However, you see that Google Calendar link? There's going to be one that's going to be just for this course. Right? So that's how we get into the classes. But if you scroll up a bit, and this is the old one, but this is because it's June 22nd. But
Oh,
that
am I on the wrong one?
Google
Okay.
Calendar link, it should also be under announcements. Cheryl has she'll put
Sorry.
announcements in saying like your
Here we go.
recording is due, use this link to schedule, that kind of stuff.
So, what we're looking for though specifically is, why is it still showing? We're at level 2, September 24th. I guess she just hasn't updated it. So, yeah. So what Lori's saying is she will update, like here this was from the pilot. Oh no, this is for this one. When you click on it, then it goes over the day, the time, what chapter we're doing, and what we'll be talking about. Or then it shows like we're doing a mentor class, where we listen to things, and we dig a lot deeper, even more deeper into the core competencies, for our PCC exam. And then she hasn't done this yet, but she's going to add next week. She'll have up here our peer scheduling. So what that means is that we'll coach each other from the class, but we'll do it outside of class. If that makes
Mhm.
maybe sense. So this is all under the announcements over here.
Okay. Thank you. That helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you been able to get through the course? So you have to,
How do you mean? I'm sorry.
yeah, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. And you can say yeah or no. Because this always throws people. So you have to hit like 17 lessons. And then you say continue. And I haven't done this, right? So I'm not going to mark anything, but this is where I can download the chapter. But you have to make sure at the beginning, I don't know if it'll show it though. No. It'll pop up and ask you like, do you want to start the course? And you want to start the course. And let's see, let's go to 4. Okay. Sometimes here it says start the course. So if that happens, then just make sure you start it. I don't know. It doesn't change what's up there. It just allows you to get in and play around with things.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have our assignments, not yet for class 5, up here.
Okay.
She has 3 up yet. Yeah, I don't think she put 3 up yet because she's been sick. So, and then we'll do in-class coaching, with one another. So that schedule will get put down here in the announcements. It's obviously not up yet. And I'm going to coach Dan next week to get us started. So come ready. And then by then we should have coaching schedule in class coaching schedule, up for all of us.
Great.
Does
Okay.
that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
That
trying to
helped me
find
to understand that I'm behind.
no, like, I don't know. sometimes like people have opened this and I totally get it, and then some people like it doesn't open well or it's like weird and overwhelming. So it's good to go over it. And these are where like the replays. So like if you wanted to go back to our first group mentoring and listen, and it doesn't look like they've uploaded class 1, and then 2, she sent you all a recording to listen to, right? For last week.
I'm not sure.
Okay, she's gonna send you a recording then, for last week because she got stuck on the road and then with your husband. So she just probably was like, it's probably not a priority right now, but she'll send you a recording of the class and then you can listen to it and it'll count. It won't count as like being towards your absences.
Okay,
Yeah. So yeah. So it'll just be a recording from our previous class that she did, the class 2.
great.
Okay, so we can message Cheryl. So if you want to message her besides email, if you go down to the left corner here, it shows her little face. And then you can see more and then you can message her. But you can email her too, or any other way that you usually contact her.
Good deal.
Yep. So recording by the 31st and then one-on-one, get that scheduled for the 1st of November. And that's the link I was looking for where her calendar is. But if you just go on her website, I think you can do it as well. But if you struggle, just reach out. She'll send the link to her schedule.
And I think it has to be like an hour conversation,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yes, that's right. She has the different amounts on there.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to select an hour, not like a 30-minute or a 45-minute. You want the whole kit and caboodle to go over it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a recording and we're going to follow along and use our performance, I'm saying the wrong word, the evaluation forms that she gave with the different competencies and how they're broken down, how we get scored. Yeah, the performance evaluation. Do you have a copy of that? Do you guys need us to pull one and put it in the chat? Let's see where it.
I have mine up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have permission to listen to this call today. We are going to listen to Valerie, and she is coaching Lori. That's why I'm laughing. So Lori has given permission for us to listen to her coaching session from a while back with Valerie.
I was hoping it was the other way around.
Oh no, it's Valerie coaching you.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay. Do you need to talk to Dan?
No, he knows.
Okay. Ooh, hold on, I gotta find where it went.
Could you put that evaluation form? I'm trying to find it. It may take me a hot second, though. Could you put it in the chat? Would that be possible?
Yes, let me find it. But here, I just copied this over. Okay. Let me go to my files. Okay. No, not that one. Where's my blank one? Here it is. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Now I can share.
Hi, Lori, how are you?
Could you all hear that? Yes? Okay, good. I wasn't sure if I needed to hit something else. Oh, we'll just go through and pay attention. I'm not going to assign competencies. You can just look out and pay attention for the different things and just kind of follow along and make some notes. And we'll talk about it afterwards.
Hi, Valerie. How are you?
I'm doing well tonight. Glad to have this opportunity to do some coaching with you.
Same. Happy to be here.
Do you have a sense of what you'd like to talk about tonight?
I do. I'm looking so I have a really busy season coming up. We're about to move and we're about to have a lot of upheaval. Like my husband's about to take a job and travel. We're about to move. And one of my concerns is that I'm going to fall out of my routines, especially exercise, because it's already difficult for me. So I'd like to talk about how to make sure I just stay on top of everything I need to stay on top of.
Okay. Okay. So how will we know we've achieved that?
The number one thing for me is going to really be exercise. And so my goal is to get at least 45 minutes of movement every day. So I know that I will be able to kind of like, if I can have a plan to like maybe block out some time or, how to structure my day well enough that I can isolate that time out even when it's about to just get crazy.
Okay. So let me make sure I understand correctly. You'd like to have a plan that includes structuring your day in a way that you're going to get 45 minutes of movement in your day every day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If we achieve that together, how will that impact you?
I won't make myself wrong, so it will keep my mindset in a really good space. I have a commitment to myself that that's what I'm going to do. So I would be really proud of myself to be able to stick with what I said I committed to.
Nice. Well, how would you like to start today?
I think I would love to just go through maybe some of the concerns that I have and maybe like see if they're valid or if they're just like my nervous energy coming up because like fear of the unknown, I guess.
Okay. Okay. What are some of the concerns that you have?
We are about to move in about 3 weeks. So we're at a point where we've been purging, but I kind of feel like it hasn't been enough. My husband just landed a job that's going to require him to travel. And I don't know when that start date is going to be. So he might be able to start as soon as 2 weeks, so right before we move. We're moving locally. It's like about a 40-minute drive. But we're going from a 2-floor condo, 3-bedroom condo, to a 2-bedroom apartment. So not everything's gonna fit. And so I know I'm gonna get so consumed by that. And then like I have to work the hospital, and then I have my own business that I'm trying to, launch, that every time in my life when things have gotten really busy, I just fall off like taking care of myself.
Yeah, I can sense the feelings about that. And it sounds like there's a lot of history with this.
Yeah, we've moved a lot. And ultimately what happens is kind of like consumes my day. Just trying to get to that deadline of like when the movers are gonna show up. The one thing that's true about this time is that I kind of learned from my mistakes in the past, where we don't have to be out of here until August 31st. So I'm trying to move July 15th. So I have a good segue of time that if like things implode on me, I don't feel the pressure and I'm not like stuck putting stuff outside on the street, right? Like I'm exaggerating, but I've at least planned ahead a little bit. But I still can't guarantee that he's gonna be here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, so there's the issue, you've mentioned that he might not be there because of work. And you've also mentioned, that you have some history. And I'm just wondering, in what direction would you like to take this conversation now, having raised a couple of different concerns, Lori?
Oh, I think I still want to stay with the exercise, because the other thing that's happening right now is that I go for a morning walk every morning here at like the complex that we have like kind of like this circular roadway, so I use it like a track. So I'll go around like 4 times and like really get my heart rate up and like really be intentional. It's the first thing I do before I even have coffee, right? Like it's like I get up and I just go out the door. And so part of my fear is that when we move, we're going to have a new routine. I'm also going to need to unpack. I'm also going to need to take care of all these things that I know are going to come up. So I think what I'm really looking for is like a mindset shift on like, this is my commitment. It's a non-negotiable. Like you have to do this regardless of what's going on.
Okay. So what would you like to aim for in this session today then, Lori? How would you sum that up?
I think it's kind of like, I know this might sound silly, but like a mantra that I could tell myself, like no, or like a way to remind myself of the commitment.
Okay. A way to remind yourself of the commitment, kind of a mantra or something.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, you've done this before. And so I'm wondering how your experience before can help in this situation now.
So we have moved, no joke, probably 15 times in 5 years, right? Like it's just something stupid. And what happens is every time it's crunch time and everything hits the fan. So this time around, I'm trying to be smarter. And I have some anxiety around the fact that we're not moving as fast as I wanted to. I had a plan, like I actually have a calendar behind me of like every month knowing that we were moving, that like each room should have been handled. And so my fear is that we're not where my timeline, we're not on my timeline. So I know that the one thing that I'm not going to do is take care of myself. And so I need to keep reminding myself that it's going to get done. It's going to be okay. This isn't like the last time, where last time literally, you know, we had to hire help. My movers came, they could not move everything out. So then we were scrambling last minute, just trying to get everything out. And it took like 2 guys, probably another extra 5 hours to just like organize, because we had like this, we had more stuff than what we needed. And we sold our house last minute, that we didn't have the option to get rid of all of our stuff in our garage, like tools and lawnmowers and stuff that we wouldn't need here. But we were kind of forced to bring it with us because we couldn't leave it where it was, because the owners didn't want any of it. So that experience kind of got me a little really nervous that we're going to end up in a similar situation. And if that happens, then I'm going to start eating fast food. I'm probably going to have some sugar. I'm not going to exercise, right? Like the whole thing of what I'm committed to for my well-being is going to be compromised.
So that nervousness is part of your fear that you talked about, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, knowing is there anything that you'd like to share right now?
What's coming up is I have time, right? We still have, according to my schedule, I probably have 25 days. So I could be intentional now and really get the ball rolling. I can block out my time even more because I live by my calendar, that I can continue down this road of making sure I'm taking care of myself. But now that some of my commitments are over that have been taking out a lot of my time during the week, I could just replace those times with packing and sorting. Actually, yeah, that's what it is. So that may not compromise my workout at all then, if I'm really strategic. And then my fear is that I'm just going to get lazy because I'm going to be tired. And, you know, that's kind of where me reminding myself of the importance of it will come in. So kind of like circling back to that piece.
Yeah. Well, so what you're doing differently this time is you're giving yourself a much bigger runway, right?
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. Last time we had literally 2 weeks. So I have 2 months. Yeah. Yeah.
So how will it be different with a bigger runway this time, Lori?
It's not going to be as hectic. It'll only be hectic if I allow it to be. And the beautiful part that we have is if we move around July 15th, then I could set us up in that place. Even if Danny's not here, I could set us up, have a really beautiful place for us to live in, bring only what we want to have in our apartment. And then I'll have 6 weeks to go through what's left, sell what's left, donate what's left. And if he's working, our plan was to, at the end of July, go to Vermont. But if he's working, that may not happen right away because he may need to stay local. So maybe I'm not as much of a crunch time as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, then I don't need to give up that time or feel like, to be honest, I kind of panic, right? I kind of like when I go in this like survival mode or like stress mode, I like panic and it consumes me until I know I've met that deadline. So that's when I just say screw it and I just don't do anything that like nothing that's a habit. So I think what I need to be mindful of is that it's not selfish for me to take the time to go and do my exercise and do my morning routines like I know, and that the extra hour is not going to be detrimental to the end result of us moving smoothly.
Yeah. And if that laziness or that paralysis that I think you're describing rears its ugly head, Lori, what can you do with that?
Lean in on the fact that I have time.
Yeah.
Reach out to the people who can support me. Like I could, either Danny or I could actually reach out to one of my friends and just kind of tell her what I'm about to do. And that way, when I kind of start going a little wonky, then I could reach out to her and be like, can you just calm me down? That's always been a really great support for me. Just kind of like communicating it that I'm like, hey, I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and have it be okay. Because sometimes I don't even see how I'm being, especially if I'm really activated. I'm better, but there's some things that really just kind of get me that way, and I could see this kind of getting me really nervous.
Well, what have you learned about yourself so far?
Oh, that I'm kind of like concerned about something that hasn't happened yet because I'm letting my past experiences tell me how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I'm just nervous over how it's been in the past, and it doesn't mean that's my truth right now.
Yeah. How does that realization make you feel?
Relieved. I feel relieved. I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I getting nervous? Yeah, relieved is the best word that comes up for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, so with what, with the realization that the past is not the present and that the situation is different this time, what might be something that you can tell yourself along the way that will help you stay on track with your exercising through this?
That I have enough time, that if worst case scenario, we're in the same spot, I could hire people again. We could rent a storage unit. Like there's options, and like we'd be just out some extra money. And also that, I'm not the only one responsible for it. And I think, and honestly, if I really shared this with my husband, he'd probably think I'm crazy and be like, go for the walk. Like, what are you doing? Right? You're like, what are you doing? Why are you stressing about this?
How are we doing in terms of working towards your goal of trying to find a mantra that will help you, a way to remind yourself to take care of yourself throughout this?
So one of the things that I always tell myself every morning, like the question I always ask myself is like, okay, there's that distinction between like a queen and a princess, right? And a princess is like what, like demanding and like a crybaby and like always tries to get their way. And then there's like a queen who like is in control. She's like sovereign. She like knows who she is and like she's unapologetically herself. And so every morning, like I remind myself that that's where I'm standing. I'm standing in my queen energy. So a queen would just go for the walk, right? She wouldn't ask anybody's permission. If that's what she's committed to, she would just do it and not really care.
Okay.
So that's what I need to remind myself is that like I'm not 20 years old anymore. Like I've done this enough times that I know what I need to do. And me going for the walk is not going to compromise it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so how can you really sum all that up?
Don't worry, it'll get done. We have more than enough time. You have the resources. You have the capacity to organize and make it go smoothly. And you can still stay on track with everything that you've committed to, like mind, body, and soul, for my own well-being. And also the thing that's coming up is like, so what if we just move everything and then I don't get everything set and completed within like a day or two? Like that's what I like to do, is just kind of like get rid of all the boxes and like I go all in on it. And it's like, who's putting that pressure?
Hmm. Yeah, how does that thought make you feel?
Honestly, the thought that comes to mind is, what are you, stupid? Right? Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it just makes me laugh because I'm like, there's nobody here telling me when I do and don't need to do something. As long as our bed is made and we have the ability to make coffee, we're moving to a city. So there's like places to get breakfast, healthy breakfast that I can eat. And like, what am I thinking? That's what's coming up.
Okay, well. All right, well, so how can you, I mean, you've said, don't worry, it'll get done. You have time, you have resources. You don't have to get it all done in a day or 2 days. As long as your bed is made and you can make coffee, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our puppy will be fine. Yeah, and part of my plan is to rent a private truck, like one of those like U-Haul trucks or from Home Depot or whatever, and take all of our clothes, all of our like belongings that we don't want to lose. And before the movers come, just do a drop. So that way that's all in my place. And then like once the big furniture moves in, I already have that. So like I'm really great at like bringing a pair of sheets and our blankets and like all that stuff. So like my number one thing always when we move is like the bed needs to be made, because you never know when you're gonna run out of steam. So like I set up the shower, I set up like the bathroom, I set up our bedroom, And then I make sure that like, as long as those two are handled, then I'm good. So, um, yeah, like I yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So. So what kind of a realization is that for you, Lori? When you just summarize, when you kind of reflect like that?
Honestly, people should pay me to be their move organizer because I've done it so much that the fact that I'm sitting here stressing out about the fact that I'm not going to be able to juggle all the other responsibilities that I have with this move when I'm intentionally setting myself up to move early so I don't have crunch time is like me just not believing in the fact that I actually know what I'm doing. That's exactly like what's coming up for me is like, why are you worried?
Hmm. Why are you worried? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so if we're going to, well, how can we take that realization and bring it back to, you know, what you originally were concerned about and wanted to make sure that you set yourself up for was to make time for your self-care and exercise?
Mhm. That even whether I'm here and we're sleeping here, I will have my routine that I have now. And then when we move there, I'm going to have a gym on the top floor that's going to be available to me too. So it's not like I'm losing resources. It's just I'm going to be doing it in a different place. So as long as I stay in my commitment and remember that a queen always keeps her commitments, that it'll all be okay.
Ah, okay. It feels like you seem like you feel lighter from that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize how much that was weighing on me.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I kept going back and forth, and I was like, I don't really know if that's what I want to talk about. And I'm grateful that that's what I chose because it was really weighing on me heavy. And now I'm like, what are you worried about? It'll be okay.
Hmm. Well, I mean, you originally talked about wanting a mindset shift. And then we wanted to make sure you have a mantra.
Mhm.
Where do we stand with that?
Oh, I think I think we've been successful because I went from being like worried to like almost debilitating, like there's just not gonna be enough time to like being like, it's okay. Like you'll figure it out. You've figured out everything else, it'll be totally okay. And then remembering that, you know, I walk in my queen energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that queen persona seems to be very, very reassuring to you. And you mentioned that a queen always keeps her commitments and, you know, and that you'll walk in your queen energy. So what is a mantra that you think you can keep coming back to during this process?
Um, you know, I have one that I say every morning. And it's exactly that you know, I stand proudly in my queenship. That I stand unapologetically in my queenship. And it's something that I say every day to remind myself that it's okay to show up for me right? And that I'm the only person that needs to give myself permission. So I think that applies to this. And I've always thought about it for my work. I've never thought about it toward like putting that toward my personal life. Sounds weird, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and so is it gonna be that?
Yeah, I'm just gonna add what I already have that I didn't realize could apply to this, because that for me is powerful.
Okay. So what is the mantra, Lori?
Um, so it is that like I walk in my queenship with my own permission to be great.
Okay. Does it feel like we've achieved your goal?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that, because I didn't realize how much it was bothering me, and to know that I could just use some of the tools that I use toward my business toward this is like incredible.
Oh, I love that. That sounds like
Yeah.
a wonderful realization.
Thank you.
Well, yes. So, what could get in your way?
Um, things may not go according to timeline.
Yeah.
And that's probably the worst thing that's going to happen, but that doesn't mean that I have to freak out about it. And I think I could stay in integrity by just communicating to people like, this is what I have going on, right? Not agree to any commitments until any additional like new commitments, until like we're moved, we're settled, we're good. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned your friend, enlisting your friend to help you stay calm.
Mhm.
What other resources might be helpful to you?
Well, usually when I exercise, I stay calm, which is why it's so important, right? And that's why I end up getting squirrely when I don't do it, and why I brought it up. So make sure I block out my calendar, I stay on track with it, and just, being really intentional about my movement, my health, and then also about, packing and the other commitments that I have. I think it's just going to come down to intentionality.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm very happy for you, Lori, that you've recognized a tool that has worked for you in other contexts that you can apply here for yourself, and that you've had some of the realizations that you have today. What else do we need to do for you to feel like our coaching is complete tonight?
No, like I'm good. Like I said, I didn't realize how strung out I was about this whole thing. And now I'm just like, it's fine. So I think we've accomplished it. I think I'm good.
Okay, all right. Well, I look forward to our next meeting and following up on how things are going for you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. I'll see you soon.
Okay. I've also listened to that before, so I was laughing and I've talked to Lori about it. So I don't want you to think I was being disrespectful. I didn't know, can I mute if I'm sharing audio? I wasn't sure, so I didn't.
You
Okay.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, okay. So I was, but then I
I've
know
tried it before, yeah. And just for the record, none of that happened. The whole thing just totally went in a completely different direction. Shit, storage. We're moving in 2 weeks. That's why I was laughing. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway.
Um, excuse me. But yeah, it was a really good session. There were some really good questions in there. And there were some things missing. So I've evaluated this one before, but I also do have like the full evaluation in front of me, Holly. So I just don't want you to think I don't want you to think I'm that brilliant. Okay. Like I have the actual, like, PCC is not perfect and I am not perfect. Um, but there are some things that aren't observed in here that I think are really interesting just to kind of think about, but they completely passed, right? It was a really, really good coaching session. So she passed 1 and 2. So let's dig into the coaching agreement to competency 3. Thoughts on, we can go down it. I mean, I don't care if we go down it by subpoint or you just you just want to share in general. Like, do you feel like she hit all of those, all 4?
Most of them. I don't, I didn't hear where she, and maybe she did it later, where she hit 3.4.
Okay.
How did that show up?
Yeah, so and also well, yeah, so that shows up like 7 or 8 minutes in to the call. And she asked, I wonder how your experience before could help in the situation now. So that is where she brought in like what the client needs to address. Like she needed to address the moving, but she's already moved a lot. So how could that like tie in to this? Um, okay, I was just reading the note, but I don't get it. Okay. So she does, but you're right, it is a lot later. So you're kind of like not expecting it. Um, and what she doesn't do, and it's not observed, is 3.2, that the coach partners with the client to define or reconfirm the measures of success. Now, when I first listened to this myself, I was like, yeah, she totally did that. You know, she was like, she asked her at 55 seconds, how will we know if we've achieved that today? I mean, that's like blatant out of the book what we're supposed to ask. But what happened was, is they kept talking. What Lori really wanted was a mantra. So because she asked that so early and they didn't get a real good measurable outcome right there, they kept talking right into those 7 minutes when she asked, how could you, bring from, how could your experience from before help you now? In those 7 and 8 minutes, she needed to ask again, okay, so knowing all of this now and thinking about wanting to, you know, address your exercise and setting up the move, how are we going to know we achieved that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I did the same thing. I thought that she had achieved that marker by asking the same question that you mentioned, but then I did kind of get lost in, okay, wait, what exactly are we trying to achieve here? Because first it was an exercise plan, and then it was mantra, and mindset shift. And so I'm like, it was moving. It was developing, right?
Yes. And like, I mean, we don't have Valerie here to ask her how she like felt in that moment, because maybe she was kind of feeling a little lost as well. But if you're feeling that, like we always want to ask again, like it's never too late to confirm the coaching agreement to make sure that we're really on track with what the client wants. So yeah, re-asking that again, like with all these different things in mind, where, what would you like to focus on and how are we going to know that we've accomplished it? Yeah. So that was a little tricky there.
Sure.
Okay, let's look at 4. Cultivates trust and safety. So, and this is what we're going to talk about tonight. So let's really look at this one. So, there's 4 for 4. Did anybody say she hit them all? Raise your hand if she hit them all. Okay. Lori, which ones do you think weren't hit?
I hold on, where's my form? It was kind of a little tricky, I found. And then she didn't ask me, like she would make a comment, but then wouldn't ask me to respond to it. So,
Right.
like one of the ones was like, how does she say it? Hold on. The nervousness is part of your fear. It sounds like that. And so she
Yeah.
didn't acknowledge, or she didn't have me acknowledge that back. If she did, it would have applied to 4.4. She didn't invite me to respond back.
Yes. Correct. Yeah, so she said the things and she summarized great, but she didn't do the follow-up with getting yes, that's what I feel. Yes, that's, how I want to go, what I want to do.
I had that one for 4.4, only because it seemed like it was like acknowledged by you,
Mhm.
Lori. Like you're like, but it wasn't like explicitly asked.
Correct. And that's like the tricky thing with PCC is like we just can't assume, even though it's like easily implied. We still need to ask the question. If we don't ask the actual question, then the assessor does not count it, if that makes sense. So for 4.1, coach acknowledges and respects the client's unique talents and insights. So it seems like, again, like she did, but it's actually not observed because she gives positive, what we call positive judgment. So she does say, like at 2 minutes and 38 seconds, very nice, or 17 minutes, that's great, that's great. Or later, I love that. That sounds like a wonderful realization. I'm happy for you. Um, we don't want it to be about us at all, right? And so instead of saying, oh, that's a wonderful realization, what would have been better is to say, that sounds like a new realization. How does that feel to you, Lori? So because she didn't follow up, she made it about her because she said I. So if you ever catch yourself saying I, we need to go. Um, but she didn't again like bring it back to Lori by asking if Lori was tracking with that. Was that truly how Lori was thinking, feeling, um, and whatnot? Does that make sense? So that one can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Um, that was a tricky one for me to learn. Still learning. Um, and then for 4.2, yeah, she definitely demonstrated. She did totally give you support and empathy and concern, really tracked with you. And then for 4.3, she acknowledges and supports the client's expression of feelings and perceptions, concerns, and beliefs. So, let's see, 4.2, and I also have the transcript in front of me, so. So Valerie says, I can sense the feelings about this, and it looks like there's a lot of history with this. So she's acknowledging it sounds like there's a lot of history with this. And then 10 minutes in, she said that nervous part of your fear that you talked about, that's what it sounds like. And then Lori said, yes, absolutely. So again, like that fits in there. 49, well, knowing, is there anything that you would like to share right now? And I'm not going to say that one. I don't think that's right. I'm not gonna agree. And then 27, 29. So Val says that queen person seems to be very reassuring to you. And you mentioned that the queen always keeps her commitments and that you will walk in your queen energy. What is the mantra that you think you can come up with during this process? So good reflecting back and getting Lori's responses with that. Any other questions or comments about 4? Okay. So 5 is that we maintain our presidents. We not starting that. We maintain our presence. So we're fully conscious and partnering. So 1 is that the coach acts in response to the whole person of the client. So what is the coach focusing on? The who is the coach really focusing on Lori? So what are some examples that you guys came up with for 5.1?
Mm,
Or did you just mark yes or no? You weren't sure. So, so Valerie asked her at 3 minutes, what are some of the concerns that you have? So she's investigating into Lori.
Mhm.
What are some of your concerns? And then what I was reading before, as far as the queen energy and leaning into that, because that's like a part of Lori already, the queen energy. And so how, so digging in there, and then 1730. So that's great. That's great. Ta-da. With the realization that the past isn't the present and that this situation is different this time, what might be something that you can tell yourself along the way that will help you stay on track with your exercising? So that's another digging into who Lori is.
mhm.
And then for 5.2, coach acts in response to what the client wants to accomplish throughout. So the what. So really focusing on that coaching agreement of what does she want. Um,
One of one of the things that she had said, um, what are you doing differently this time? Right? One of the things that she um inserted was this thought process of like the bigger runway that I had never said.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
like so that concept, but she did ask like now that you have all this time, like much more
mhm,
time than in the past, like what would you do differently? I felt that that spoke to 5.2,
mhm,
like the what, like trying to move the
yeah,
conversation forward.
definitely. And then,
She also said, and what would you like to aim for?
mm,
I put
yeah,
that for 5.2.
yeah, yeah, and the what? Mhm. And then for 5.3, we got the coach partners with the client by supporting the client to choose what happens next in the session. I think she nailed this. Yeah, throughout the whole thing, she really, yeah. So what are some of the quotes y'all got?
I didn't write down the full quotes, but there were several check-ins. I was clocking it, but I didn't write.
Yes. Yeah, this is such a great example of checking in with the client. She did a beautiful job of that, like continually checking in. And I just think it's hard sometimes to remember to check in once, every once in a while, to be like, oh, wait, I haven't checked in with them. But Valerie did this, at 2 minutes. How would you like to start today? Right. So she's just leaving it open. And then in what direction would you like to take this conversation? That's at 5 minutes, 7 minutes. What would you like to aim for in this session? 10 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to share right now? So she's just continually, and there was more just checking in, but those are like the ones that jump out.
What have you learned about yourself so far, and how does that relief make you feel?
Yeah. And then for 5.4, demonstrates curiosity to learn more about the client. I mean, this is one of those where you can it's demonstrated throughout, right? I mean, she was continually doing that. The fact that, all these questions we already have listed shows that she was curious about Lori and Lori's situation and wasn't asking questions that were interesting to her, right? So like, she could have gotten off track and been like, oh, like, what's Dan's new job going to be? How does that affect you? Right. And that's just more like, so if I would have been coaching Lori and I would have done that, that's me just being curious about what I want to know. That's not being curious about what Lori is presenting and what Lori wants to talk about. So she was genuinely being curious throughout. Okay, and how do you guys feel about 5.5, that she intentionally created silence, space, pause? Yeah. There are a lot of examples. Okay, let's get on to 6. So we listen actively. So for 6.1, the coach's questions and observations are customized by using what the coach has learned about the client, about who the client is or the client situation. So directly taking from what the client has said in the coaching session and then customizing their language around what the client has said. So around the words that Lori used. How do we feel about this one? That's 6.1.
I felt like she did a good job with that. I mean, she's repeating back like, okay, what are your concerns? And all right, so we want a mantra. This is a mantra. She's using her language. She didn't restate it in something else.
So we actually have this marked as not observed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she does repeat mantra and a few other things, but she also interjects things. So like the runway, that idea of a runway, like it's a beautiful thing that didn't come from Lori, right? But if that had have come from Lori, that would have been a great, like, okay, how can we use this runway? Right. So what actually happened was, it seems like that she was customizing, but what she did the majority of the time was she said that, this, that, that. So even though we're listening and she said that, right? And so we're going, yeah, of course that like refers back to, but she's not using the direct words. So there could be some confusion for the client. And then it's back to the whole thing is like, if we don't directly say it, then the assessor isn't going to count that. So overall, yeah. So, and that's a really easy one, I think, to get hung up on or just to mess up, because that is how we talk, right? Like we don't want to repeat everything, and we're not supposed to be talking all the time. We're only talking 20% of the time. But just pulling out some of those keywords more, and instead of saying that, how did that feel? How does queendom feel? Right? That would have been a good example.
Mm.
Um, and then, well, then that goes with 6.2. Sorry, I kind of put those two together. Does the coach inquire or explore the words that the client used? And that really wasn't observed enough. There wasn't enough in there to really grab a hold of. But we do have 6.3 that the coach inquires about or explores the client's emotions. Did anybody write down question they heard that fit 6.3?
I had,
Nervous equals fear. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, go.
Oh, I had nervous equals fear. That conversation around being nervous and being nervous really came down to fear.
Yeah. That's good.
And for me, like besides this, the one that we always go with was like, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Um, is like, how does that realization make you feel?
Mhm. Right. Yeah. What was it we came up with that we're not gonna to not say how does that make you feel? Didn't we come up with something different?
What's that like for you?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that that I like lean into so much that I can't say it anymore. It's my go-to. Yeah, somebody mentioned it, and then like, what's that like for you? I think that's it.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Because it's really easy just to keep asking, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Which is fine. But also we can mix it up a little. But yeah, she totally dug into your emotions. And then did the coach explore the client's energy shifts, nonverbal cues, or behaviors?
I
So
didn't,
these,
sorry.
yeah, go.
I was gonna say that wasn't observed.
Mhm.
Um, like usually if I'm trying to remember what I did. I just listened to it. I can't believe I don't remember it. But I know at like one point, um, I think I started laughing.
Yeah.
My awareness, and that would have been like kind of like laughing at myself. And that would have been a good prompt to kind of go deeper into that. If she's like, so tell me about
Yeah.
that laughter, like what's going on there?
Yeah.
Mhm. At one
Um,
point, she did say something to the effect of, you feel lighter. So does that
mm,
show up, or is that just an assumption and it's not really a question?
Let me put in flight. Let's put in lighter. Yeah, so it's exactly what you were saying, Holly. Yeah, she says it at 26 minutes or so. Lori says, whether I'm here and where we're sleeping, I'll have that routine. And then when we move, I'm going to have the gym on the top floor, and I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing it in different places as long as I stay on my commitment and remember that the queen always keeps her commitments. It will be okay. And that's when Valerie says, oh, it feels like you seem lighter from that. But she didn't give it back to Lori. Yeah. So she picked up the ball, but she didn't pass it. So that's, yeah, you're exactly right. And then we're going into the 6.5. The coach inquires or expresses how the coach currently perceives themselves. So, did anybody pick up any quotes for this one? Any questions? So this one is just simply met with when she asked, what are some of the concerns that you have? So just that simple question from very on in the beginning hits it. And then there were a few more throughout, but sometimes it's a little bit tricky because it's like, I heard her say lighter, but then she didn't like pass the ball. And then you're like, did they dig in? Well, yeah, at the beginning, like that did count. So 6.6, the coach allows the client to completely speak without interruption unless there is a stated coaching purpose. How do you guys feel about 6.6?
I felt she did a pretty good job of not interrupting. I thought she left a lot of space.
Cheryl threw the tricky one out. This one's got some doozies. So the assessor says it's not observed. And it's really tricky because you're right. Like she leaves a ton of space for Lori all the time. But then there are the few times where she jumps in quickly,
Mhm.
or even bigger, she doesn't interrupt with, asking another question. She interrupts with, oh, okay. So when we use the filler words, that is interrupting the client's thought. And they have 16 of them down. Okay. So, right, but again, this is like a really good example of the difference between in 5, like does she leave silence? Does she give that space for the client to really think? Well, yeah, she nailed that. But on the other hand, she did interrupt quite a few times just because she was doing those filler words that is it's natural. That's what we do in conversations. It's what people expect of us, but we've got to take it out of our coaching. Now, I think if she would have only done it once or twice, it wouldn't have been, I think it would have been observed. But because there were so many different instances, and this is where the assessor takes that transcript and goes to town on it. It's like, pulls out all these things, right? That I can say, there were 16 instances demonstrated where there was that filler word. And then there were another 18 where the coach uttered other small words like, yeah, okay. So for 6.7, the coach succinctly reflects or summarizes what the client communicates. How do we feel?
I think she did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she really did. She did that quite a few times throughout. She did that well. Okay, let's go to 7. So evoking awareness. So 7.1 is the coach asks questions about the client, such as the client's current way of thinking, feeling, their values, their needs, their wants, beliefs, or behaviors. Did you feel like that was demonstrated throughout or at all?
She did ask about like concerns.
She
So
did.
it was demonstrated like
Yeah.
and then that good old question of how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, so what are you doing differently this time is you're giving yourself a much bigger runway. So they use that as another example of how she's viewing this. And then 7.2, the coach asks questions to help the client explore beyond the client's current thinking or current feeling to expand upon the thinking and the feeling. So this goes back to the who. So not the what, but the who, the client. So were you able to get any questions for that one?
So what have you learned about yourself so far?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, And let's see, 710. Oh, how does the realization make you feel? And the other one they have down as 2143. How does that thought make you feel?
What about what might be something you can tell yourself along the way? That wasn't.
Yes, sir. It's okay. Sorry, someone outside. I'm sorry, say that again, Holly.
Oh, I was curious if what might be something you can tell yourself along the way
Mhm.
would hit 7.2 or not.
So what was she referring to though specifically? I think that hits in 7. I just can't remember what it came before. I'm not sure if that one goes for 7.2 or 7.3. And this is where you can kind of see that example of the using of the this and that
Mhm.
instead of specifically stating.
Yeah.
So yes, this either goes to 7.2 or 7.3, but we don't know. I can't find where that was said quickly here. So, but that's a good one. It's a good job. We'll put it in 7.2.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Dan, did you get anything for 7.2 or
Did not.
7.3? And then 7.3. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan.
Oh, no, I was just reading 7.3.
Mhm. So this is the coach asks questions to help the client explore beyond the client's current thinking or feeling to new or expanded ways of thinking or feeling about the client situation. So 7.3 is about the what. So 7.2 is about the who, and 7.3 is about the what, the coaching agreement. Um,
I
so-
believe she does do this when she's
Mhm.
clarifying if she like feels good about the mantra, but I don't
Yeah.
have a quote for that.
Yeah.
I'm just like she
That's fine.
clarifies
Yeah.
the mantra.
Right. Yeah. No, she definitely did it quite a few times throughout. Like she nailed both of them. Let me find just one to read. 24. Oh, yeah. So what kind of realization is that for you? When I just summarized and when you reflect on that. So she's referring back to the actual planning of the moving. So Lori's just spoken about the actual planning, and she's asking specifically about her realizations around the planning. So it would have been, so again, like to back the bus way up, um, so she could have, said, um, so what kind of realization is that for you that a lot of these things are already working themselves out, or you know how to work them out instead of just that?
Mhm.
7.4 was definitely observe. The coach asked questions to help the client explore beyond the client's current way of thinking and feeling and behaving for the outcome. So that was observed. Again, Valerie asked some really great questions. Now 7.5 that the coach shares with no attachment, observations, intuitions, comments, thoughts, or feelings, and immediately invites the client to explore through verbal or tonal invitations. So we have it as not observed. And again, it just kind of goes back to that, like when we inject, I love that. That's great. I'm happy for you. That's showing too much attachment, right? That's telling. So Yeah, so going back, so the example that they put in here is like where the missed opportunity was as far as 7.5 is back in 26 minutes. She says, "What are you feeling right now?" And then immediately offering, "You seem to be feeling lighter from that." So it would have been, "What are you feeling right now?" Mic drop. And let Lori respond to that. Right. And then she makes the assumption that Lori feels lighter and doesn't then ask again, "Am I correct?" Does that track with you? 7.6 definitely hit that the coach asked clear, direct, primarily open-ended questions. So 71% of all of the questions were open-ended. Again, transcript, deep going through. 7.7, did the coach use language that was generally clear and concise? And she did. She really was to the point, didn't babble. 7.8, the coach allows the client to do most of the talking. Again, yes, she definitely hit that. She spoke 27% of the time, and Lori spoke 73% of the time. And then with 8, so she nailed all of 8 except for 8.7, which is accountability. Okay. So she invites, Lori into asking her about the progression. Like we've already talked about how great she kept checking in with her. And what she was learning as a person, and then 3.8, what she was learning about the situation. And then she asked, how are you going to use this new learning moving forward? And they do they do 8.5. The coach partners with the client to design post-session thinking and reflection. 8.6, the coach partners with the client to consider how to move forward, including resources, support, barriers. She asked what could get in your way, those kinds of things. But she doesn't take that one step. She just forgets to ask who can hold you accountable. Now, again, same thing. Did it happen in the session? Yeah. Lori talked about talking to different people, but it was never straight up asked. It was never asked who can hold you accountable, who can walk alongside you in this move to help keep you focused. And then 8.8, she celebrated the client's progress and learning. And then 8.9, she partnered with the client on how the client wanted to complete the session. So asking her, what else do we need to do for you to feel like this coaching is complete tonight? Which I think is a really nice ending question. Any other thoughts? I know it's a lot when you first start looking at this and like all the little nuances, but that's why we're going to do it in every class. So you can start to like pick those things up. I was saying earlier, like I'm not great at doing progress. And so a lot of times, like when I go and like do my client notes, I put halfway down in the client notes real big progress. Whether I'm typing it, I type progress, whether I'm writing it, or whether I'm like with my iPencil on the notes sheet, I write really big progress just to remind myself to like check in with the client. So I think, if you're finding that there's a few little things that you're not including, you're struggling to remember, something that's worked for me is just kind of jotting it down in the notes before the session happens so I can kind of trigger myself at some point in the session. Okay. So should we take a break until 10 till the hour? So like 9 minutes. Okay. I will see you all back shortly.
I'm totally stealing that queen energy thing. I love that. That's awesome.
I love it. Yeah, I never expected to hear the same conversation over and over again. Oh my God, it's so funny. Yikes. Ah.
I think you're muted.
It's great. I'm just talking to myself. So chapter 2, which you all it will be we get a recording of, is about our emotional intelligence, and it goes in and breaks all of that down. So it is a really good chapter to listen to and to like print out and take the notes around. As Coach Cheryl's just talking about all the different levels of emotional intelligence, not the levels, but the different like types, and then there's like subcategories, like main categories, subcategories. So tonight then we're gonna move on and talk about deepening our trust and just having that psychological safety with the client. It seems kind of redundant sometimes because we say the word trust like every time we talk about coaching, but it really is so important in all aspects of our interactions with clients, you know, as we are presenting, you know, into the world as coaches, and just in general, like we want to build trust with people in the world. But it doesn't mean we have to like them, right? So you can still like not want to go to a game with someone or, you know, out for drinks with someone, right? Because you're just like, I don't really want to spend time with you, but you can still build trust with them and respect what they're saying and listen and have a level of trust, even though you're not like really close. And I think sometimes people think that means you have to be like super close. That's not true. So the trust and psychological safety, they're at the core of transformational coaching. So that's what we want to remember, is that the trust is what is going to bring that the transformation for our clients. So there has to be the trust. So without it, the client may feel that their true thoughts and feelings or limiting of depth of exploration and the potential for meaningful change. So we're going to explore how to establish, how to deepen, and how to just maintain the trust. And then we want to make sure that our client feels safe, that they can open up to us, to be vulnerable, so they can really have a good coaching journey, right? That we can really walk alongside them to the best of our ability, because we're allowing them to give the best of themselves because they trust us. So trust is just like building that rapport, right? So where the client feels safe enough to explore their fears, their doubts, their challenges without judgment. And that is really the huge thing, without judgment, especially this day and age, that we really are caring and empathetic and listening to other people. And we can do this. I mean, we can build this trust just through our own behavior. Like I was saying, like just as we present as a person, as we're out in the world, and how we interact with them, that we're just consistent in who we are and how we behave. Like that's gonna instill trust in someone. And also just showing, like, back to the non-judgment, like alongside with that, just really open to diversity, right? Like really just open to it. And it doesn't mean, you know, fully engage. You can ask questions, but just be open and let people be who they are. So when the trust is established, then, you know, the client's going to engage in deeper self-reflection, right? Because it's safe. to talk about. And that self-reflection stuff can be scary to say out loud. They're open to feedback. So not like telling them what to do, but just when we're like, you seem a lot lighter there, Lori, after saying that. How do you feel? Right? That would be like in her going, yeah, yeah. And the new perspectives, they'll be open to that. And then they're also, gonna feel like they can take the bigger risks when it comes to the decisions, to the action plans that they're making with you, the steps that they're setting up because they trust you. I think a key thing with that, little bit of a sidetrack, is just, not allowing our clients to set up action plans that are just way too big, like just unrealistic, right? Like as a coach, you're listening and going, I know that you have these 35 things going on and we're meeting in a week. There's no way you're going to get another 25 things done just for coaching in between the week. And so being really honest with the client and being like, these are great, let's chunk this down. Let's assume the week gets busy. What's like the realistic, and then, okay, what's your stretch goals? Right. And I think that builds a lot of trust as well in our clients because they see that we really have their best interest at heart, right? This isn't school. We're not teaching them. This is for their own growth. And then the client's just going to experience sustained personal growth as they keep going. So we know we don't build that trust always right away. But again, it goes through the consistent behaviors and our intentional coaching practices, how we show up. So we want to be reliable. So we just need to be following through on the agreements and being consistent with how we approach the client. And I think just even like down to same questions of like how we start a session with what do you want to talk about today? And so they kind of get that flow, right? Like they know what to trust, they know what they're walking into. Being transparent. So just being open about the coaching process. What are the expectations? What are the limitations? So, don't be afraid to say to a client, I honestly don't know a lot about that. I have a colleague who does. Or you should AI that, or so just being really honest with them and letting them know that we do have limitations is going to build a lot of trust. Our presence, so just not being distracted, fully listening to them, having empathy, so just really genuinely understanding, and I think just also like underline just that validation of their experiences, right? Just validating that those are their experiences and that is what they felt and how it was, and the confidentiality, of upholding ethical standards, that we're doing that. We're going to do that regardless. So she's got an example here of a dialogue. So you could say, as we work together, I want to create a space where you feel completely safe to share openly. If there's ever a moment where something feels uncomfortable or unclear, I encourage you to let me know so that we can adjust and ensure that this space works best for you. So just even saying that to the client is giving them that permission to say something is amiss here. So psychological safety is talking about the client's ability to express themselves, again, without the judgment, the fear of rejection, or just negative consequences in general. And it's very important when they're sharing sensitive things, when they're looking at new perspectives, the new beliefs. And it's really important they take accountability for the actions and for their behaviors. So when we build that psychologically safe environment for the client, they're going to speak openly without fear of us criticizing them. They're going to experience new ways of thinking, behaving. They're going to engage in constructive conflict and disagreement. And they're going to feel accepted, even when they're discussing like, hey, I didn't get to that, or I failed at that, right? They're going to feel that they can say that. So we'll know that that's happening. We'll just be able to see that when our clients are openly sharing with us their fears and their failures and their doubts, right? When we see that the client's willing just to challenge their own limiting beliefs. I love it when they do that. And then when the coach and client engage in constructive or a judgment-free dialogue, back and forth, or when the coach uses, curiosity and non-judgmental questions to encourage exploration. I think if you're not seeing this happen in your coaching sessions, when you're getting into it with the client, and you're like, they're just not really opening up, we need to just ask the client, right? We just need to ask them, like, I'm sensing that something is off or amiss, or maybe you're not feeling as though you can fully open up. And I want you to be able to like bring that stuff up with me. So just asking them, just like with the coaching agreement, it's never too late to nail down that coaching agreement. It's never too late to remind, the client, like this is their session and their time. And if something is off, to let us know and see how we can like rectify that, and build that trust with them. So sometimes there is just going to be the challenges, right? Because we're people and we're human. So here in chapter 3 on page 4, there's a little chart. And we have 4 examples of trust barriers when they're like being challenged. It's a challenging area. And then examples of how it shows up in our clients, and then how we can try to work to overcome that. So the first one is if the client's skeptical, so client skepticism. So the client is hesitant to share openly or questions the value of coaching. So ways that we can overcome that is just to, again, reinforce that confidentiality. You can say it whenever, at the beginning of any session, right? Or halfway through a session. We need to clarify the coaching boundaries with the client. And we can acknowledge the skepticism with curiosity, right? So I'm sensing a little bit of skepticism, where is that coming from, or how does that feel? Does that feel right? Kind of thing. So I have an example of this. I was talking to, this isn't even a coaching client, this isn't even a client, it's my sister-in-law. But a couple of years ago, we were talking. I don't even remember, so I can't even blab on her anyways, but then I wouldn't. But she was telling me something about something, and it had to do with her and my brother, something to do with her and my brother. And she wanted to say something about my brother, but she wasn't saying it. She was just being really hesitant. And I was like, Amy, you know what? I'm going into coaching mode. Whatever you say right now, it's private, it's confidential. This is a safe space. And then she opened up and shared, and it really wasn't like, anything major, but it was so surprising to me to say to my own sister-in-law, hey, I'm a safe space. I'm not going to run and blab to my brother or my parents. You can share this. She opened up, right? So you might find that just even in your own daily life sometimes, that you need to remind people that you are a safe space. And that goes back to just how we present as coaches, right? I was able to say, no, like I am a coach, Amy. Like I do this on the daily. I'm not going to run and share these things. So the trust barrier broken, so if there's fear of judgment from the client, so the client's withholding personal thoughts due to a fear of being judged. So the ways we can overcome it is just by normalizing the statements that they're saying. Many people feel this way. Validating their emotions, not minimizing them, like, oh, everybody goes through that, but you're not alone. Many people have felt this. This is actually really normal and healthy to feel this. That's going to help our clients not feel like they're going to get judged. If there's a past betrayal or there's been a breach of trust. So if the client has past experiences of broken trust, so in or outside coaching, right? What we can do is just acknowledge the past experiences and then allow the client to set the pace for the trust building, right? So just recognizing it probably will take a little bit longer to build that trust with the client, but it will happen as you continue to journey with them. And then if we as a coach have an unintentional misstep, so a response or a question from the coach unintentionally creates discomfort for the client. So what we want to do is just take accountability right away and clarify what were our intentions, what were we meaning there, and invite the client to respond back to that, right? To repair that trust. So just, hey, that's not what I meant. Take accountability. So there's some examples here of how we can do that. So the first one is, I hear that you're unsure about how coaching might help. That makes sense. What would feel most useful for you in our time working together? Right, so opening it up to them. And then you're not alone in feeling this way. Many of my clients have shared similar concerns. Let's explore what's coming up for you. Right, so now you're bringing it back to them. You're normalizing and you're bringing it back to them in their session. It sounds like the past experiences have made it hard for you to trust new people. That's completely understandable. How can I support you in feeling safe in our sessions? I think that's a really wonderful question. How can I support you in feeling safe in our sessions? Another is, I noticed that my last question might have felt a little bit confronting. That wasn't my intention. Can we explore how that landed for you? So instantly you're just opening up that dialogue for the client to let you know. And then it sounds like this topic brings up a lot for you. And I want you to know that whatever you share here, there's no judgment in this space. So again, just that, like I did with my sister-in-law, like just in the middle of sessions, if you feel that hesitancy and they're afraid to share, just that quick reminder of, hey, this is a safe space. There's no judgment, safe space will most likely clear that air for them and allow them to say things. Questions, comments on any stuff so far? Have any of you had any struggles before with clients developing trust?
Absolutely. And a lot of times I find it's when they come in really upset,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
they just kind of want to just talk. And if you try to kind of like, I know this sounds terrible, but I'm going to just say it this way. They just want to hear themselves talk and they don't necessarily want to get the coaching. So when you try to kind of go in coach mode, they then start arguing
Yeah.
without arguing, but you know what I mean? Like they're just
Yeah.
resistant and there is nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's experienced that?
No.
Ah.
They just need to vent.
No, absolutely not. I definitely experience that once in a while. And I noticed with one client in particular, it's when she's confronted herself with like barriers, or she hasn't done the thing that she said she was going to do.
Yeah.
And so there's some guilt and shame.
Yeah.
And that's when like talking around and then not allowing the coaching session to really take its usual pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely
That makes sense.
experienced that. Mhm.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like, and this is a me thing, this isn't a client thing, but like when I get really quieter, like really introverted clients, I kind of take on like, oh, they're not trusting, like they're not talking, they're not opening up. And I have to like step back after some of those sessions and go, wait a minute, like they're just a naturally quiet person, like just keep showing up, and it just takes a little bit longer to get to some of those deeper places in sessions because they just need that little bit of extra time. But I realized that about myself. So let's do a few little scenarios. So I'll read, let you know, I'll say what the client is hesitant about, and then let's just think of some ways that we could speak back to them, what questions we could ask. So if you have a really hesitant client, so the client is hesitant to share a personal struggle and says, oh, I don't want to sound weak. So how can we validate that feeling? Maybe even like reframing that vulnerability as a strength. What are some ways that we could respond to a client who doesn't want to sound weak?
Ask me that one more time, or say
Yeah,
that
so
one.
the client is hesitating to share a personal struggle, and then they say, I don't want to sound weak.
I
I
think,
feel like there needs to
ahead.
be like what's behind weakness, right? Like what's creating that weakness. So I think it's like asking those thought-provoking questions. Like I think without context, that's kind of a bit difficult. But I think asking like what's what's creating that thought of weakness in
Mhm.
for you to kind of understand where that weakness is stemming from, because there's usually that root cause analysis that's actually creating it. So like I think
Mhm.
understanding that, like what's creating that thought of
Mhm.
weakness behind it,
Mhm. Yeah,
the exploration behind it.
that's good. Holly?
For me and my style, I would definitely want to um not normalize, but validate their autonomy by letting them know, hey, if that's uncomfortable for you to share, first of all, I want to say that's completely fine and you don't need to. However, like then I
Right.
want you to know this is a safe place and
Mhm.
whatever you share here, this is Vegas. And then be, working on where that's coming from,
Yeah.
what's underneath it.
Yeah, so the example she has here is like, to say, oh, that takes a lot of courage to bring up, which that actually does. If someone actually out loud says, I don't want to sound weak, that's pretty courageous of them. And then what would help you feel more comfortable exploring this? So just another question to kind of provide a safe space. So then if we have a client who's uncertain, so the uncertain sharer. So a client shares a mistake that they made at work, and then they immediately say, "Ooh, I probably shouldn't have told you that." Where could we, how could we help them in that situation, validate their feelings, overcome that? Ooh, I probably shouldn't have told you that.
I've had that happen to me more than once.
Hmm.
And not that I make a joke out of it, but I'll be like, it's a safe space,
Hmm.
not going to go anywhere. Besides, I don't know these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't like make them feel better without it being
Hmm.
like stuffy and kind of
Hmm.
have them chill out a little bit about it.
Yeah. And I think back to Dan saying last time, like digging in, I think, just asking them, like, where did that should come from?
Mm.
Hmm.
Because we shouldn't be shoulding. we shouldn't be shoulding, shouldn't let our clients should. Um, so digging in deep there, like, especially if it comes out of nowhere, where did that should come from? Like, what's making you stop that? And I think that would be really valuable information into their brain, right? Because is it a trust thing with you,
Mm.
or is it because of another outside world situation, right?
Mm.
So if we have a client who is defensive, so when you offer a new perspective to the client, and the client gets defensive and they push back. So how could we acknowledge that client's emotions, but still encourage some self-reflection?
I feel like it's meeting them where they're at. So usually diffusing it is letting people know, letting the client know that
Mhm.
it's okay to have different opinions. Like
Mhm.
it's okay. It's not judging you for having a difference of opinions. Can you help me understand why you see it from that lens? Why you
Yeah,
see it
that's
from
really
that
good.
perspective?
Yeah, and for me, it's like, acknowledging the energy shift.
Mhm.
And like I sense that this is a little difficult for you. Um, what has you feeling that way? And then also, if they don't want to engage, which I've had this happen before, where it's kind of like you finally hit the wall of like what they're dealing with and they don't want to play in that area. I usually make a statement like, look, I understand if you don't want to share this with me or you don't want to talk about it. But just know that the thing that you're resisting talking about right now is probably the thing that's holding you back from getting the results that you want.
Mm.
Boom. Yeah, that's so
And
true.
every time I've done it,
Mhm.
every time except for once, they've opened up at that point.
Hmm. That's brilliant.
It's something. I hate being on
It's
that. I I can't stand it. I'm like, yeah. I
no,
hate.
but it's, yeah, so true. Okay, so here is the reserved client. So we have a new client that keeps their responses really brief and they don't engage deeper in the conversation. Those are the fun ones. So how could we adjust our approach to make them feel more comfortable to open up to us? What are like a question you could ask or something you could say?
Maybe by just normalizing their experience and like saying something to the effect of,
Mhm.
oh, I definitely get it. I've been there before. Like sharing a little bit about yourself first, so
Yeah,
that it kind of lightens the load that they
yeah.
feel. I have a lot of clients that can be they're in a position where they're pushed into having to talk to me.
Mm, yeah,
So it's like
different.
I get it. Like
Yeah.
we can make
Mhm.
this really just very casual.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a difficult conversation.
Something I found is when clients at like you go into a session, you're like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Right. And they give a quick little answer and then they usually ask you. I found that being honest, like really honestly saying, yeah, it's a pretty good day, or oh, yeah, I know my husband and I moved last week. It was really crazy, but I'm settled down, I'm here. Like sharing, like you're saying, those little pieces of yourself with them helps them connect.
Mhm.
Um, and usually when I have like a new client, whether it happens in the like meeting the client or if it's someone I'm just like taking on, sharing a little bit about myself with them always at the beginning, and then just saying, hey, I'm an open book. Like we are here for you. This is about you. But obviously, I've lived through a lot of these things. That's why we're meeting together. So feel free to ask me questions or feel free to, shoot me a message at any time.
And for me, what I usually do if it's like, especially if they're forced to meet with us,
Yeah.
I'll and like say I ask a question and they won't commit to like a
Mhm.
coaching agreement or something like that, or if there is a topic that comes up and they're like hesitant to talk about,
Mhm.
then I'll literally side note and I'll move on to a different topic that I know that might
Yeah.
be related, to then circle it back to be like, well, how do you feel about, if you
Mhm.
feel that way about this, and how does that relate to that? And then try to
Yeah.
connect them. And hopefully then you have that rapport going that
Yeah.
they then feel comfortable that they'll start talking about it.
That's really smart. We are not therapists, but the reason that I'm really intentional about answering clients correctly was because I did have a therapist once who would never answer me or tell me anything about herself at all. And that really bothered me, especially in therapy. I'm like a sobbing, disgusting mess in there. And you can't honestly tell me if you're having a good week or how your granddaughter's birthday party went.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like she didn't need to build the rapport, so she didn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm like, um, what's the word?
Sensitive to it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm sensitive to it.
And I have a therapist right now that like actually don't really talk about me. She talks about her.
I'm gonna do
We're the
therapy, Lori.
opposite. I'm like, okay, hey, how's it going?
I'll coach you for cheaper therapist.
I'm like, whatever you need. Yeah, we literally sit there and we go down the rabbit hole of like health stuff. She'll send me supplements. Like she does everything else but like therapy. I'm like, okay,
Oh my gosh.
get to know you.
What is causing you, what is compelling you to stay with her?
Oh, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's just, yeah,
Funny.
it's no big deal. It's more for medication management more than
Okay.
therapy.
Like full on, fully, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like,
Whatever. That is really funny.
yep.
Okay, so we have a client with past experiences. So your client shares that a previous coach made them feel judged and hesitant to trust in another coaching relationship. So what are some things we can say to acknowledge their past experience, but then also kind of like helping set some groundwork for us in our relationship with them?
I've experienced this a lot, but I'll let everybody else go.
I have not experienced that as much. So if you want to share, I'd love to hear.
Dan, would you like to share? Or would you like me to share?
So I think my approach to that is usually, past experiences do not equate to future experiences. And, meet them where they're at with like acknowledging that what happened in the past
Yeah.
not landing well for you
Yeah.
is understandable.
Yeah.
I also understand that the future experience that we will work through is going to be different and it won't be. So I think it's just kind of creating some certainty around, the past does not always equate to the future. And once it's just creating some certainty around it, it really helps diffuse the situation where, painting the picture of the future, really has, in my experience, has really helped to diffuse it.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm. And for me, because it's usually the first thing that they'll say is like, I've tried this before and it didn't work. It's usually like
Oh, I haven't
conversation,
had-
right? Like, yeah, I've tried this and my coach this, my coach that, or like
Mhm.
whatever, because my first question is, hey, have you ever been to coaching before? Like,
Right. Yeah.
first question.
Right.
So it always comes out pretty early. And it's also why even if they don't say that to me, I still ask, like, hey, have you ever been to coaching before? Like, you know, because my first question is, hey, have you ever been to coaching before? Like, first question. So it always comes out pretty early. And it's also why even if they don't say that to me, I still ask, like, hey, have you ever been to coaching before? Like, you know, because my first question is, hey, have you ever been to coaching before? my first session with a client is always like, okay, so today we're going to test each other out and see if we like each other and if we're a fit.
Mm.
And if they show up with like bashing their previous coach,
Mm.
I'll acknowledge it and I'll be like, look, I understand that you had a bad experience. What I would love for us to do is just have a clean slate, recognize that I'm not them.
Yeah.
And but at the end of the session, you recognize that I'm still not your coach and you don't want to do this, like there's no obligation to stay. And
That's good.
and that literally just like kind of like shuts it down. Like they sometimes
Yeah.
engage and be like, well, they did this and they did that, and I just kind of listen. But most of the time they don't even continue on like bashing the other coach.
Yeah. That's really good.
Because like sometimes too, especially like I don't know if I want to work with some people.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And like you could
Yeah.
have that introductory
yeah.
call. You could kind of get a sense for them, and then they get on that call with you and they're just so difficult that I'm like, so I want the out, and that's why
Yeah.
I say it.
Yeah.
It's like easier for me to be at the end of like,
Yeah.
I've done it more than once. Either, you know, I'll either won't schedule, it's really bad now that I'm thinking about it, but I either won't schedule, like I won't invite a schedule at the end of the call and then like go through it by email.
Yeah.
Or if I'm brave enough now that I realize that, then I'll just be like, look, I really think that I'm going to refer you to somebody else.
Yeah.
You're laughing at me?
Now they're really going to want you because you're being honest about your limitations.
It's understandable.
But she's so trusting.
Oh my
No,
God.
I know.
Oh my
So can I ask, I have a client that asked me a question,
Mhm.
and the 5-second overview, uber successful.
Mhm.
And he asked me, and it's really an interesting, his question was, what are you going to do for me as a coach? And I still haven't, other than him telling me about him buying a waterfall in another country, to like very, very wealthy
Yeah.
and successful. And I still haven't quite even figured out what exactly, I can't get anything more of what his intentions are. He wants to know, as a coach, his question, he's very direct, very
Yeah.
bold, very
Mm.
confident. The rest of the other words you probably figure out.
Yeah.
And I mean, the difference is he still shows up. I mean, he's talking
Yeah.
to like, doing multi-million-dollar deals. And I still haven't figured out what exactly he's trying to get to, other than sharing, all of the things he's done. So his
Yeah.
question to me is always comes back to the same thing. So what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me as a coach? Because that's what he's expecting. Like, how do you even, like, I'm not even sure how to approach it. Like,
I mean, I
what's
would
the
shoot
problem?
back. I'm going to help you realize what you're thinking. I'm going to help you explore your thoughts so you can get better at business.
Mm.
Yeah. And where I would go would be like, what do you think I'm going to do for you?
It's even better. But I'm responding to the attitude, not to
Yeah, no. And I
No,
love
he would probably swear and probably drop the call. Like, he's just that, like,
he wants an answer.
yeah,
And coaching is
1000%. Like, he
about
is like
it's
business
about
guy.
the client.
I'm
Right.
sorry.
Well, and coaching is about the client. It's not about us. So like
Mhm. Oh yeah.
thinking through, okay, these are the things that I'm going to help him do. So you can throw them back out, like throw them back to him. When he throws you the ball, you can just
Mhm.
toss it right back. I'm
Right.
helping you process your thoughts. I'm helping you realize why you made that $1 million deal or you didn't make that $1 million deal last week.
Yeah.
Well, it entirely depends on what he wants to get out of coaching.
yeah.
If
A
he's
great
not
question.
willing
Yeah.
to share that, then you cannot meet
Right.
him where he's at. So yeah, my response is I'm here to meet you where you're at. So what do you want to get out of this?
Mm.
Yeah. But did he have like an intake form or something like that? And is there anything as to why he even signed up?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've had 5 or 6 sessions with him, and now I kind of understand, and it's actually really interesting.
Mhm.
As confident I find as some people think they are, he's looking for reassurance,
Mm.
one, and like he was gonna buy like a resort in Costa Rica.
Okay.
And he's looking to like he wants to reflect if it's a good decision. I
Yeah.
think. I think it's never one subject. And then I think what I've gotten to is he spent so much time on the rest of his world in business and making money and doing all these things. He's relationship with his wife and his kids are suffering. So
Yeah.
that's where we've gone with it now is,
Mhm.
how asking some questions and let him sit on some of those questions has really got him thinking, the rest of parts of life that he's missing out on, I think is
Yeah.
where we've gotten to. It's very interesting, because he's, uber successful, but his relationship with his wife, he says is great. And then you start digging into questions around that and you find out it's really not great.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting one.
He keeps coming back, so you're
Mhm.
doing something.
Yeah.
He is somehow getting validation out of it
Mhm.
or processing through it.
Mhm.
Well, our time is up. Let you all go. So recording by the 31st, and then get an appointment on the books with Cheryl, an hour long one-on-one session with Cheryl for the 1st of November. And if anybody needs somebody to coach for the recording, I can help out. I'm glad to help out. And yeah, I'm gonna coach you next week, Dan. So give me a good one.
Get ready.
Do the recordings themselves need to be like a minimum of 30 minutes? Is that the
Yeah, so like
standard?
30, 35 minutes, nothing more than 40.
I think some people even did like 25, right?
Oh, okay. Is that what, yeah, between 20 and
Like,
35.
I mean, if it flows and you have everything and the call's complete at 25, you don't need to like linger it. 30
Yeah.
is like the goal, but
Yeah.
Don't sit there and tell Dan, what are you going to do for me for 10 minutes?
That's an instant fail.
Tell me more. I'm all ears. I'm listening. Tell me more.
I'm punchy. I've been up for a while and I just sat down. So, yeah, great call, Holly. Good job, Holly. Yay!
Thank
Good job,
you.
Holly. Thank you.
Another Holly probably needs to go eat dinner. So, yeah. So I
Yeah.
will see you guys next week.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah, you
Have a great
too.
night.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.